Mrs. B's podcast. My name is Sarah. You can find me as Mrs. B the Knitter on Instagram and Ravelry. And there is a Ravelry group for the podcast. Just pop over, type in Mrs. B's podcast and it should come up. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're a new viewer, thank you for coming by and checking me out. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you for your patience. I don't podcast particularly frequently, but I really appreciate you coming back to watch and sticking with it. So yesterday I went to Unravel, and this is a festival of knitting held at Farnham Maltings in Surrey, and it was really cool. It was really good fun. I went with my friend Alison, who is a fellow knitter and fibre enthusiast, very crafty lady, and we had such a good time. It was a little bit overwhelming. There was a lot of yarn there. It's the first time I've been to a big yarn show. I've been to a multi-craft fair before, and I have been to a small yarn show, 3 bags full, down in Liscard in Cornwall, but I have not been to a large yarn show before. It was kind of overwhelming. They have a little map on the back of the programme, and basically what we did first is we just went around the whole place and just looked at everything. Then went and got lunch, sat down and formulated a plan, and then went back and did our shopping. So it was really fun. I did buy a few things. I also met Nikki from the Tea and Possibilities podcast. Her and her mum and her grandma were there, and they were absolutely lovely. Absolute pleasure to talk to. I also met Amy of Stranded Dye Works, Mina from the Knitting Expat, and Ellie of Skein Knits. And at the point where I met them, my brain was yarn fumed out, dehydrated, and I told them I really enjoyed their postcards. So I completely lost my fangirl brain, and oops. But I really like the idea of postcards. So I'm thinking from now on, rather than trying to put the pressure of a full podcast on myself, because I'm not a particularly fast maker, nor am I a particularly prolific maker, postcards seem like a little snippet, don't they? A little kind of, just, it's not quite a full letter, it's just a little, hey, how you doing, this is what I did, hope you're having a good time, bye, kind of thing. And I quite like that. So maybe this will become Mrs. B's postcards. What do you think? Tell me what you think. Anyway, what did I buy at Unravel? Well, I did go in with a list of things that I was specifically looking for, and next time I go to a yarn show, I'm not going to do that, because I just was then specifically looking for those things, and I think actually I just want to step back and just enjoy everything, and just as the mood takes me, rather than really kind of I have to go and find these things. However, I did get one thing on my list, and that was this. This is some Scandinavian linen, and it is for a wedding shawl that I'm making for a colleague and a friend who's getting married in September in Portugal. So I didn't want anything that was going to be woolly and too warm, but equally it had to be something that would drape nicely and hold the lace of the pattern, and linen seems like the right choice. So this is just plain linen. It has been bleached, so it's a white, she has a white dress, so I didn't want to get anything that was slightly off-white and have it clash with her dress, because there are so many different versions of off-white now, it's just not true. So I went with just the bleached, the white, and yeah, we'll see how that one goes. I've never worked with linen before, so that will be interesting. I got this one from Knit With Attitude. They had a stand, and whilst I was there I got inspired and bought some yarn from Garn Surf, who are a Norwegian company, and the people who dye for them are refugee women who have found themselves living in Norway, and it's an opportunity for them to meet each other, form a social group, also learn Norwegian, learn a bit more about the country they're living in, but also express themselves creatively. And I love this colour, and I know my mother-in-law will like it as well. So as you can see, these beautiful kind of pops of colour, and this kind of turquoisey blue, and it just kind of, it spoke to me. So that also popped into my bag. I also picked up a present for my goddaughters for Christmas. I know it's only February, but you know, I stopped by the lovely Beaker Buttons and had a fantastic chat with Jen, who runs Beaker Button, and picked up a Dorset button kit. Now it's got 5 different designs in there, so they can each make a design themselves. There are 3 of them, so it's not enough for 2 each, but I thought it would be fun for them to have a group activity to do. And I also picked up a mini skein of the same colours, so that if they chop this one up, there's still some left over. And for those of you who may have noticed, they're the suffragette colours. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is pair this with a book about influential women through history, so suitable for their age groups. Kind of give them that feeling of it doesn't matter if someone says, oh, you shouldn't be doing that because you're a girl, or you can't do that because you're a girl. If they want to do it and they're capable of doing it, it doesn't matter what anyone else says. Back to fluff. I bought myself some Angora fluff to try spinning with, just to see what it's like. I've heard it's very warm. This is from Bigwigs. And yeah, it's so soft, and I've always wondered about Angora because it's so soft and squishy. And I know there was a lot of furore surrounding Angora in the fashion industry a couple of years back, but Bigwigs are not kind of caged animals that are kept in horrific conditions and, you know, horrific practices for removing fur. They're kept in lovely conditions, they're very well looked after, they're clipped, they're happy bunnies, so I have no problem in purchasing Angora from them. I also, on the side of spinning, have a early birthday present from my husband, which is lovely. My birthday's not for over a month yet, but since I was going to Unravel, he asked me what I'd like for my birthday, and I said, could I have some spending money for Unravel? So, courtesy of my husband, I have 2 bats from Spin City. This is one. Look at that. Squash, squash. It's lovely. And the second one is kind of a darker version. I felt they'd complement each other nicely. So beautiful kind of rich blues with these kind of splashes of colour throughout, and I thought they worked nicely as a pair. I apologise for the light, I'm still working out the light in my craft room. These are currently living in my my Luna bag. Don't worry, you're just as sane as I am, but as you can see, don't know if you will be able to see, they're kind of shedding stellina on the inside, so I'm just going to keep them in there rather than get stellina over everything. They're just going to live in that bag until they're spun. They are super fun. Super lovely. I was really tempted to get a sparkly spindle as well, but it would have ended up probably just sitting in my my pen pot on my desk rather than being used, as I prefer to spin on my wheel rather than on a spindle. And finally, my last purchase from Unravel was these. I've been looking for them online. They're the Crazy Trio. I bought them from River Knits, and I was also very tempted to pick up a couple of skeins of her yarn, but I made the decision that I wasn't going to buy anything that I didn't have a plan for, and I didn't have a plan for it, so I didn't buy any. However, I really wanted to. So I think I will be at some point in future. Her dye colours are just beautiful. But I spotted these, and these are an early birthday present from my parents-in-law. So next pair of socks that get cast on will be cast on with those. And that's it. That's what I bought from Unravel. Like I said, it was really good fun, quite overwhelming. I kind of know a bit more now what to expect from a yarn festival. Alison and I are making plans to go to the Alexandra Palace knitting and stitching show later on this year. So the one in Olympia is coming up at the beginning of March, but we felt that was too soon after Unravel. So we're making plans to go to Alexandra Palace. I think it's October, end of September, beginning of October. That will be the next kind of craft show that I go to, and I probably won't buy any more yarn for a little while, maybe, and try and just kind of use what I've got, my stash, which is very pretty. But yeah, I really enjoyed Unravel. I really enjoyed getting to talk to people. I found it really interesting to go and find these yarns that I've seen on Instagram or people have spoken about on podcasts, and actually kind of go and feel them and squish them. There was a yarn from John Arbon Textiles that online looks very different to how it does in person, and kind of being able to get to feel it kind of gave me an idea of whether or not it would work for the project that I had in mind for it. It would do. I may revisit that later, not sure. But I am a John Arbon Mill member, so I do get a little discount online, so I can order online, and it kind of counteracts the postage charges. So yeah, we'll see. But also discovering some new yarns, going and kind of getting to meet some of the people that I've been quietly stalking on Instagram. Not stalking, you know, Instagram isn't stalking, it's just, it's one of those things that, you know, you see things come up in your feed, you follow specific designers or yarn dyers, and you kind of feel like you get to know them a bit, but of course they have no idea who you are. You don't really have any idea who they are either. But it's really interesting to see the yarns in person, meet the people, talk to them, find out kind of where their yarn comes from and what inspires them and that sort of thing. So yeah, it was really interesting. I didn't take any pictures, I was just completely and utterly overwhelmed by yarniness. I'm really glad I went with a friend. I don't know what would have happened if I hadn't. I probably would have just been found at like 6 o'clock at night, just randomly still wandering round and round, just lost in a little daze of yarn fumes. But it was really fun, and it's also brought about the idea of short little postcard podcasts. So I hope you're having a really good weekend. I hope you're enjoying whatever craftiness you're up to, and I will see you next time. Bye!